Welcome to the Anonymous Andrew Podcast, Life and the Choices We Make, the choices other people make. This podcast explores all things as they relate to dating and romantic relationships. Why we sometimes ignore or choose to ignore or miss the red flags. Red flags like gaslighting, cheating, lying, narcissistic behavior, deception, mental illness, addiction, and so much more. Join me each week as we continue my journey into the modern dating world with my weekend rants, anonymous guest dating stories, and experts who share their wisdom so I can help you navigate the dating terrain. If you are new to the show or have been with me from the beginning, hold on tight for the Anonymous Andrew experience. Greetings, Anonymous Andrew from Anonymous Andrew Podcast. I think that's pretty obvious. So, it is the day after Thanksgiving, and I actually started this rant 3 or 4 days ago, and I have to tell you, it was a doozy. I really went off on a rant, and something changed during that time, and I could not publish that rant. But before I go on, and I think I'm going to keep this short because I'm going to release another episode this weekend. Like I had mentioned, I have a lot of episodes for season 2, and I want to start releasing them. I just want to bring to your attention something that has absolutely nothing to do with relationships and romance, but it does have something to do with scamming, deception, deceiving. I just got a call from a friend of mine, a very good friend of mine that we've been friends for close to 15 years. Not going to give you any more detail than that, other than they fell prey to the scam that goes on your computer when something pops up and says, hey, it's Microsoft, we've detected a virus on your computer, call this number. And you call the number, and of course it's not Microsoft, it is a individual in, pick any country in Europe, and they prey on the people who just don't understand the scam. They think it's legitimate. They make it look legitimate. Bottom line is they called the number, and these guys got close to $10,000 to get them to remove it from their bank account. They give you scare tactics. They told them Microsoft said we need to come in and look at your computer, so they streamed in. They gave them permission, and they said, oh my God, we found that there's a server using your computer to distribute child pornography, and we think that your bank account might be compromised, so we need to move your money out of the bank account. And my friend knows that I'm in the IT world, and this person, I begged them. I'm not even going to reference if it's a he or a she. I begged them, why didn't you call me when you got this notice? Because I would have come over. First of all, I would have said to you over the phone, it's a scam. But second, I would have helped you get rid of it. But sometimes people feel like they bother me if they're asking me for computer stuff. I'm not saying that's what this person did, but I didn't ask them why they didn't call me. Anyway, I just got back from... There's nothing I could do. They had transferred the money out of the account, and they did the gift card thing. You have to buy gift cards in order to transfer the money. They really got scammed on this one. And then they terrified them by telling them that because of the child pornography server, that the FBI would be alerted and not to talk to anybody and not to call the police because they'll come and arrest you. And so this person texted me and they said, I really need you to come over, but I can't tell you why, and I can't talk to you on the phone. And it was, I didn't understand why this person who we've been friends for 15 years couldn't talk to me on the phone. I said, why can't we? Let's FaceTime. Just tell me what's going on. And they would not. They said, it's serious and I can't tell you. And it's because they were worried that the FBI was listening, that they had them so terrified. So the bottom line here is, folks, if you get a pop-up on your computer while you're Googling, because this happens on Google, and I don't know why Google will not fix this. It is implanted in the ads on Google. It's some algorithm they write into it, and they... I get it at work every single day. Somebody clicks on something, but they're smart enough. To my friend, I'm not saying you're dumb, but the people at my job know to call the IT department when they get something like that, and I see this all the time. And then I had somebody else about I don't know 6 months ago. Somebody that I know fell for this, and they lost $60,000. So I'm just bringing this up as a public service announcement. Do not fall for anything that pops up on your computer that says Microsoft or any other company that says you have a virus, please call us immediately. And they get you into a scare tactic and urgency, and you got to do this right now. And then, of course, if you get them on the phone, they have that foreign accent. And I said to them, didn't that give you a clue right then and there? But then I realized that Microsoft and some of the larger tech companies, they do hire people from other countries that have emigrated here. So that might not be a dead giveaway anymore. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, maybe. But today, if you hear a foreign accent, it's a lot of companies outsource their tech people. So anyway, please be very careful when you're Googling or surfing and you get a pop-up. You should have some sort of a browser extension on your Chrome, your Edge. It even happens on Apple. So I think whatever your browser is, you should get a good malware extension that will prevent these pop-up ads. Well, they're not even ads. They're pop-up warnings that you have a virus, but it prevents them from happening. So I'm not going to turn this into a computer podcast. So as I said, or did I say, that this is Thanksgiving Day weekend. I do have the 4 days off, which is very unusual. I usually have to work the day after Thanksgiving, but I took the day off. And I'm glad I did. I am one of those people that go to work no matter what. I have 4 weeks vacation. I've been working at this company for 25 years. And I took a couple of days off around July 4th. And they were just personal days or sick days. I wasn't even vacation days. So long story is I've been working every day this year. Minus a day here and a day there for maybe a medical appointment or something. But I go to work every day. I am one of those employees that just goes to work. And this is interesting. When I was in a relationship, any of them, not just the last one, any of them, I would have taken other days off because you want to, especially like during the summer, there might be a you want to play hooky, you want to go to the beach, you want to take a trip, your girlfriend want you want to just spend the day together during the week. I have done that in the past, but when this year, since I've been single and trying to heal from the last relationship and trying to move on and yada yada yada, work was one of the best ways of just keeping busy and making money, and then of course the podcast came along and that kept me busy too. But anyway, so I have several days off, which I'm really, really enjoying. I had a great Thanksgiving with my family, and I still have a couple more days. My son is up from Florida. That's great. I got to see him last night. The one that, if you've been following me, I interviewed him in the first season. The one that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And I think he's still single too. Just to give you an update on that. So, last weekend, I spoke to you about a woman that I was chatting with through texting. We met on one of the apps and we moved on to the phone, and I had said to you and her, I said, hey, she's the one that lives the next town over. And I jumped the gun and I asked her to come out and meet me like 5 days after we met on the app, and that was just a little too quick for her. Hinted several times, can we talk at least on the phone? I just felt that it was literally I could walk to her house, and it just seems silly to be texting. And I wanted to talk to her at least if we're not going to meet, let's talk on the phone. But she wasn't ready. And I guess in a way this is why I'm focusing on dating in season 2. The rules or lack of rules or everything has changed, and you have to take each individual as a separate individual and see where. So, I mean, there were other women that I was talking on the phone, 5 days after we met, and others I met them 6 days after we met when I say met on the app. But the woman that I'm talking to now, it's been 2 weeks, and it was just texting and texting and texting. However, I got a little bit of a surprise on Thanksgiving morning, just yesterday morning. She said good morning to me on Thanksgiving. She wished me happy Thanksgiving. And we were chit-chatting, and she said she had to run to the store to get something. And then when she got back, she said to me, would you like to talk on the phone? And I literally almost fell on the floor because I had been hinting at it, and she just didn't respond to me. But so this is teaching me, and I'm passing it along to you, that if you meet somebody online, there is no rule of thumb. You have to be. I told you guys that I was going to start dating with intent. So dating with intent also means that you have to pay attention to what the other person's signals are, or lack of signals, or what they're communicating. And I'm pausing and sighing because I'm hesitating as to what I want to say. You just don't know who's going to hear this. There is something about this woman that intrigues me, other than the fact that she's close by. There's just something about her that's very different from either the usual type of person that I go after or seek a date with, or there's just something different. And it took 2 weeks to get her to talk on the phone. But I didn't push her, and I could have easily had given up. My past pattern of behavior in courting a woman was rapid. If I felt there was a connection, there would be like a phone call every day or a text every day, and then try to hurry up and meet. But that's the problem that I had prior to this podcast, was I was making the same mistakes over and over again, expecting something different to happen, and then I would end up in a relationship that I didn't belong in. And as I'm starting to say now, my picker was broken. I was picking the wrong women. What I like about this woman that I'm talking to now is she's setting the pace as to what she's comfortable in the pursuit or the courtship, and I'm taking her lead on it, because number one, I've said this again 100 times, I'm in no rush. I've been single for a year, and I'm comfortable being single, with a footnote that I'm getting the itch to start dating, but not jump into a relationship. So I don't know where this is going to go with this woman. I think I mentioned, if I didn't, I'm going to mention it now. There are other women on one of my, I think I've already said it, the Facebook app. I got about 12 to 14 likes, of which I've all matched with these women. But there's, you know what? You want a rant? I'll give you a rant. So I gave last week or the week before, I was giving Facebook dating app like all this hype. I was like, it's great, it's free. I was getting more results, more likes, more action on the Facebook dating app than any of the other apps combined, and it's free. But the same issues exist. When you match with somebody, this is the concept of a dating app. You swipe and swipe and swipe, and if I swipe right and you swipe right, we match, right? And then you're allowed to message each other. Most apps work that way. You can't message somebody unless they like you or you match. The idea behind that is that if you strike up a conversation, you start to get to know them in a very shallow sense, but you start talking to them to figure out if you do want to take it to the next level, which would be a phone call or a meet. Some people just skip the phone call and go right to the meet. It's on Bumble and eHarmony and Match and all the other ones that I've been on this whole year. They don't return the message. You match, you reach out and say, hi. You know, what are you supposed to say? You match with somebody, you go, hello, we matched. Would you like to talk? Whatever. I mean, I may not be the most smoothest, but you reach out to them, and try to start a conversation. Literally out of the 14 matches that I got on Facebook, the woman in the next town is the only one that responded. Now, I don't want it to sound like that's the only reason why I'm talking to her. She checks all the boxes for me. Just living in the next town over is a big perk. I prefer my dating to be local. I don't want to be driving. I've said this 100 times. I don't want to drive an hour to go meet somebody. Because if it turns into something, then it's the dating and the or relationship becomes, it's all about travel. No, I have limited time as it is. I'm not going to be that kills during the week. If you get off from work, you come home, and then you want to see your girlfriend for the night, and you got to go drive an hour to go spend an hour and come home. Unless you start sleeping over or whatever, but that's jumping way ahead. So I date locally, but I can't get the other 13 women on Match. Now, I'll be honest with you. Since I've been talking to this woman, I haven't given Facebook a lot of attention, but I just like all the other ones, I get push notifications that tell me, bingo, you got a new like. Bingo, you got, hello, you got two. And I go, look. And if I like what I see and the profile is nice, I will match with them. But there is no conversation happening with any of them. There's like crickets. Why go on a date? So I have to talk about this in the mail from my point of view. So the ladies, if you're listening, if you're on a dating app and you swipe right on me or any guy, and then he swipes right on you, or he gets notified that you liked him, and he matches with you and reaches out to you, why don't you respond? Is it because you got 30 guys hitting you up? Which I've heard that theory, that some of the women are just overwhelmed with the amount of guys, and you have to weed through them to see which ones are jerks, which ones are just looking for sex, which ones are scammers, catfishers, whatever. But out of like 14 likes on my app, one wants to talk to me? Why did you like me in the first place then? I'm not talking about women that I liked or that I reached out to. They reached out to me first. I look at their picture, I look at their profile, I go, yeah, okay, she's 10 miles away. She's pretty. She's A, B, and C. So I'll match. I'll swipe or click the heart or whatever, depending on the app, whatever it is. And then crickets. I don't get it. I'm literally scratching my head. I'm like, I don't understand what the purpose. Why go looking for somebody on a dating app and like them and then don't follow up when they contact you? It just doesn't make any sense. This is why I say dating in the modern world has gotten so fucking complicated. It should not be this difficult. And it's not one app. It's across all the apps. I had on a woman, again, a couple of weeks ago. I didn't air it yet, but she said to me, the dating apps don't suck, the people do. And she's right. The dating apps are doing their job. They are bringing people together. There's a database of, I don't know, let's pick one of them, Bumble. Let's say there's 5 million people on Bumble. I'm just making the number up. They get you to come in and pay them the $150 for 3 months or whatever, and you are presented with possible matches, women or men, and they're doing their job. They're showing you women or men every day. It's the people who are on the dating apps that either don't put enough work into their profile, or when they do get contacted, that's where the ghosting comes in. That's where the disappearing acts, where they just all of a sudden unmatch you, or they just simply don't respond to you. Why? And again, I'm in no rush. It's just frustrating. Because the little time that I have at the end of the day, when I'm climbing into bed and I say, all right, let me look at my dating apps and see what activity is going on today. And you see these likes and nothing. No answers, no communication, nothing. So I just, that was my rant. I'm just frustrated with the lack of, to me, it's just decent courtesy. If you match with somebody and then you have second thoughts, or you've already met somebody, in 1 week you can meet somebody and start chatting with them, and you're just not interested in the other 13 people that are on. That's fine. Just text me back and say, hey, thanks for getting out to me, but I'm already dating somebody. Or I would even go as far as to say, if you're just not interested, just unmatch. So when I look down at my list, you're not there anymore. And I won't even miss you. I won't even know you're not there, because I don't remember who's there. I just see faces. You look at your list of matches, it's 2 or 3, like you're scrolling through your phone, and I couldn't tell you one name on there except the woman I'm talking to now. But if one of them disappeared because they unmatched me, I wouldn't know, and I wouldn't care. But they don't even do that. All right, now I'm going off into a rant, which is what I do, but I'm beating it into the ground. So I think what I'm going to do right now is I am going to go call this woman. We did talk this morning, and I said, let's chat tonight. And it is 7:30, and I'm going to go chat with her, see where that goes. So this rant was recorded over the whole Thanksgiving Day weekend. And it is, you don't know the edit points, but it is now Sunday morning. And I just told you I was going to go call the woman from the next town over. And yeah, last night we spoke probably for an hour. And it was great. We laughed. We connected on local events and local places and restaurants, and it went very well. And to the point where she is now ready to meet. And we've even picked out a local spot, which is another, again, reason why I like to date locally. If you date somebody 30, 40 miles away and you decide to meet, there's that awkwardness there where, of course, the gentleman should always go to where they live. But I don't know what's in your town 45 miles away or 40 minutes away or whatever. yes, I could say this, whatever Starbucks is there, but that's getting old. Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, whatever. Typically, yes, that's the protocol for a first date. Go for a quick cup of coffee or tea or beverage, whatever they serve. We came up with something along the same lines, but nicer than Starbucks. I'm not going to mention it, but it's an eatery, and it's local. And she mentioned it. She said, "How about we meet blank?" And I said, "Wow!" And it happens to be 2 blocks from my house. And again, she's just not even a mile from me, so she doesn't have to go far. So the good news here is that we spoke twice over the Thanksgiving Day weekend, and now we're going to meet. We haven't decided when, but I said to her, let's if you're interested in this week, pick a day. And so I'll probably reach out to her tonight, and we'll do it one night after work, and I will let you know how that goes. So, listen, guys, I dropped 2 episodes this weekend, all right? I gave you a special bonus episode. Marilyn Penny did her 4th reading with me back in October. It's a great reading. I do want to say that 1 year ago, I was a mess, and here it is 1 year, actually over a year after the breakup, and I am in a spectacular place. In my head, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, even physically, I'm doing great. And it's, I want to thank Marilyn Penny because she did a lot of spiritual cleansing. And anyway, if you've been following the podcast, she's made 3 appearances. And the episode I dropped tonight, this weekend, is the 4th and final reading. And she clears the gunk out of my soul. And it's a great reading. So you get 2 episodes this weekend. It's a bonus episode. So, all right. I think that's my rant for the weekend. Keep it short. My rants have been going a little long. So here comes the begging. Please, if you are enjoying any of my podcasts, my rants, my guests, please stop 30 seconds and give me a review. By the way, I did not hear from the person last week who left that review. I'm still waiting to hear from them. If you don't know what I'm talking about, listen to last week's rant. And please tell a friend, pass this podcast along to somebody that you might know struggling in dating or a relationship. I got over 100 episodes now dealing with almost every type of relationship issue. It might help somebody. And please, if you're going to make a choice, and if you're in a dating situation and it becomes on the edge of a commitment before you make that final plunge into committing to somebody, make sure your picker isn't broken. And choose wisely. Until next time, ciao.